So the question on the chat is from Kirk Hobbs. He's curious, when is the next Jersey Jack pinball machine, the next title, going to be announced?
One of the easiest softball questions that all manufacturers get during a seminar or any type of interview. This is literally a floater to the interviewee. And the answer is always the same. It's very simple. He should knock it out of the park.
The next game, the next Jersey Jack game, it's Harry Potter, we know that.
I stand corrected. What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel where I talk and do everything pinball. So if that sounds interesting to you, then hit the subscribe button down below. Now, let me go ahead and get this out of the way. I am recovering from being sick due to TPF. That's the only reason I've got. All I know is that I got the major crud on Sunday, and I'm still recovering from it, hacking up, and it's just not pretty. I am working on a TPF video that will be released sometime in the future whenever it's done. But I figure I would knock this video out before it gets to be too much of old news, because a lot of people are aware about this whole thing that happened during this seminar for Jersey Jack Pinball, but I figure let me add a little bit of my commentary and my thoughts on it to the mix. So it's the seminar for Jersey Jack Pinball, and the whole video was entirely 53 minutes and 18 seconds long. I want to give props to Johnny Pinball. I am utilizing the video off of your channel to show all of you. So I kind of got basically timestamps of interesting things that took place that I feel like are somewhat noteworthy. But throughout the entire video, if you kind of just look at Jack, there are multiple signs throughout this 53-minute long interview or seminar where there's definitely signs of mental decay. The zoning out, the tremors, and I've noticed the tremors back during the Avatar's initial release trailer. I suspected something was off with Jack, with the way he is. And by all means, this is not me trying to tear the man down. I'm just saying these are things that I've already noticed, and I think it's becoming more and more obvious as time has progressed. And I think that this possible sickness that he has is only going to get worse, like they tend to do. And I think this is definitely more than likely the giant spotlight for the people at Jersey Jack, that maybe they shouldn't have him behind an open mic in the future. Now you're probably like, why, Cary? What's the big deal? So he said what their next title was. A lot of people already knew what it was anyways. I get you. But you have to look at it from other perspectives as well. And technically, it's Jack. He can do what he wants. He started the company kind of thing. But you also have to look at it from it killing the market on your current game. And that's why every time that question gets asked to a manufacturer, you look at all the previous footage from other interviews with George Gomez, David Fix, if you want to mention him, but any other time when someone asks about when are we going to see the next title, it's a usual response of something of the matter of like, when it's ready, when it's done, but they never go, this is what it is, don't buy anything else. That's just things that they never say. I also look at it as this is Mark Seiden, the designer for Avatar. This is his, first time also in Texas. This is his debut cornerstone game. This is his moment, essentially, to go through this entire seminar and show off the progression that he had throughout creating this game. And at the 39-minute mark, Jack decides to throw a hand grenade or a wrench into the cogs kind of thing. And what's funny is that it's not planned. It wasn't expected. And you could even see it on Mark Seiden's face during this question and how Jack answers it. It's micro. I'm sorry, guys. It's micro, but you can see it that it definitely was unexpected and an oh snap moment.
Harry Potter, we know that.
But it's not even just that. We're talking like at like 3.5 minutes in, Jack's having basically his opening monologue and discussion, of which it's kind of like hopping from one topic to the next, and then he gets into talking about how they have 3 licenses in the works, and they've already got their next 3 lined up, and that's just information that you don't need to tell anybody, kind of thing. That doesn't really ever get spoken about either, kind of thing. I mean, typically, from Stern, they'll usually say that we've got plans for the next, 2 or 3 years or whatever. And I think I've heard them say something like that before. They've got their titles lined up that far in advance. Now, this is just pure speculation on my point, but I do feel that this is more than likely not the first time that Mark and other employees have seen something of this nature with Jack. Because like I said, this type of possible disease or condition that he has doesn't get better over time. But again, I'm highlighting the points that this was a moment for Mark to take it all in. Let the spotlight be on him. Let him enjoy this. And also let the distros that are trying to sell their stock of Avatar games, let them get that out the door. And then a question comes along that should be an easy softball to keep people just, hang in there. You'll see the title coming up eventually, or in so many months, or something like that. But you don't want to kill the current sales of your game that's currently on the line. And from what I can tell, Avatar's already not a great selling game. And so then you tell people to not spend another dime until they see Harry Potter.
I would not spend a dime out of your pocket until you see the game. I wouldn't spend anything. Nothing.
That's just unheard of. Like I said, you will never hear Stern tell you, hey, stop buying Dungeons and Dragons because we're releasing King Kong next. You won't hear them say that. Now, people may be saying it in the chat or on Pinside or me or whatever, but you're never going to hear George Gomez or Seth Davis come out and say, King Kong's next, in the middle of their current game. All that matters at that point in time is the game that's on the line. They don't talk up another game until it has been officially announced. For very good reasons, because they want to keep selling what they currently have. They don't want you to focus on the new hotness just yet. I saw the micro facial expression on Mark Seiden's face, but I would have really loved to have gotten the look on Ken Cromwell's face, the guy that's in charge of marketing and everything for the company. I would have loved to seen his reaction if there was any. But that would have been a moment where I would really wish I was in the front row to turn my head and to look to see what the reaction is. Because that had to have been an, oh my God, no, he just didn't type of thing. And I want to say that even towards the end, they asked about future licenses. And I think it became another moment of where he was probably going to say something that he shouldn't. And more than likely, if I was a betting man, I'm betting that he probably saw Ken down there in the front row going, shaking his head no type of thing.
It is from SS Billiards. They are asking, will Steve Ritchie ever get to do Top Gun? I don't think that was an answer.
But it was a funny moment. I'm hoping that I'm going to have this all put together and everything for you guys. But it's one of those where, yes, we all knew that Jersey, I say we all, but a lot of us that are deep within this hobby were aware that Jersey Jack Pinball had Harry Potter. And the strong rumor was that Harry Potter was their next game. But he already assumes that, hey, you guys know it's next, and then talks it up. And I know a lot of you think that, that there should have been a much more of a cheerful applause type of moment whenever Jack Waneri's senility came through and announced the next friggin' title of their making. But the thing is, there's only, maybe 30 people in there, and whenever he announced it in such a weak manner, it didn't really kind of promote an applause. It was one of those moments where I'm sure people were confused. Did he just say that? Out loud on purpose? I mean, I know that the crowd had to have been turning their heads and looking at each other did he just say that type of thing? So that's why people weren't cheering and clapping. If he would have been all right, guys, I'm telling you right now, brace yourselves, and kind of work the crowd up to let them know. And then told everybody, our next title is Harry Potter. Then the applause and cheers and everything would have been kind of expected kind of thing. But the way he says it all just, well, you guys already know that our next title is Harry Potter. And I think he was expecting some applause and cheers and everything too. But it's just the way it was and how he announced it was weak. So therefore the response was weak. And now with the way he's announced it, it's going to be... You kind of deflated the balloon that was building up for Mark Seiden for his Avatar game, and you've also kind of diminished the amount of surprise that the public would have for your upcoming title. But Jack did end his seminar in a informative manner, and I'm going to end the video on that note as well. Thank you all for tuning in. Hopefully my voice is better in the future in upcoming videos, but I will see you guys on the next one.
There's one thing that it takes to be successful. You can't give up. I could have given up on this company thousands of times, right? But if you don't give up, you don't lose.